It's a really interesting one when you look at silence as a way of holding ourselves. Now, with my mum, the silent treatment was a punishment. That's the way I took it. It was a punishment. But in speaking to my mum many years later, that was my mother's way of being okay. She had to close down because she felt overwhelmed by her nervous system. And I wonder how many times as human beings, and especially as women, we are juggling so many balls and we're trying to make sure so many things and people and circumstances and events and all the different roles and labels that we have, we're trying to keep everything in balance. That all it takes is one thing that we believe overwhelms us. And in that overwhelm, there is this silent retreat into ourselves. Now, that silent retreat is often done in a way that's done through anger. But it can be also done through love, through this gentle peacefulness for ourselves. And this is what I'm pointing you to. No matter how we're experiencing life, we can only ever experience it from the inside out. And what I mean by that is we're experiencing our life through thoughts and being conscious of those thoughts. Every feeling is precipitated by a thought, a story, a narrative. So you can't feel anything without something going on in the background that you may or may not be aware of. Now, we're all different, yet we're all the same. We all have coping mechanisms for these moments of overwhelm or anger or just confusion. Some of us retreat into ourselves and some of us shout out and some of us do both, depending where our state of being is at any given moment in time. I always invite people to check in with your state of being. If you can find that gap between stimulus and response through breathing, you will find a way to be. You will be able to see the thought-feeling connection and choose through free will. Do I get involved in this? Do I step back from this? Do I retreat through love for myself and love for these other people by saying, I'm sorry, that's not something I want to talk about just now because I'm tired or I just don't have an answer? Or is it you have to get out of the room and the only way you can see to get yourself out of the room is to disconnect? To disconnect through anger or fear or confusion. And all of that is okay. All of it is okay. You're doing, like I do, the best that I can in any given moment of time. And I have the grace to show up afterwards. If I do something that upsets someone, and apologise by saying, that's all I had in that moment, and I'm really sorry. But knowing that my worst is never that bad anymore, because I'm fully aware of how I'm creating my experience in the moment. Now, often in that silentness or this retreat that we take, some people will distract themselves. So they will retreat from other people and life, but they will also retreat from themselves. And in that retreat from themselves, they will look to find a different feeling. That different feeling can be found in food, alcohol, affairs, gambling, Netflix binging, too much Facebook. You're distracting yourself from living through something that will teach you something more about yourself because it feels too uncomfortable and you don't want to do it. But you can also be silent and open for wisdom to come through, to lovingly hold yourself in a space where you can feel all the emotions that need to come through you without being fearful of them.